Hello everyone, it's Comfort Beach Ambesh and welcome to another PHP tutorial series. So, in this episode, we're going to focus on the introduction to file handling in PHP. Before we could get started, let's get to understand what file handling really is. Okay, so file handling is a very, very important aspect or concept in most of the software applications. So, file handling is used to create files, read files, delete, update, and upload files on the server. So we really need file handling to do those operations that I've mentioned. Okay, let's say one of the uses of file handling in web in software applications. Let's take a quick look at at Facebook. Let's assume that in an instance whereby you want to upload your photos on your Facebook gallery, on your Facebook. So what you have to do is to go to Facebook, and then you get to decide the photo that you want to upload. Now that process of uploading is handled by a file handler on the server. Uh, on the server. So that's the very important aspect of file handling. We can use it to upload files on our server, create, delete, update, and all I could say is that we can use it to make a lot of file manipulations on our server. Okay, so now in this episode on the introduction to file handling with PHP, we are going to focus on file reading and creation. Now let's start with file reading. Okay, file reading is a process of how can I say, accessing or displaying content of the file on your web application. So first, I have my I have my text here. What I'm going to do here from my VS Code, I'm going to create a file which I'm going to name sample underscore file.txt. So I'm using .txt extension. So .txt extension is for text files, those files that basically deal with files only. So now I want to feed this file with this information here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open this sample file, and then I'm going to uh, paste this. I'm going to write down something like this. I can code. I'm bright, up to I'm dominant here. Okay, so if I open now the sample file.txt, we are able to see this because I've written I've written all of these from my text editor. So if you're on Windows and you try to open this file, it's going to open in Notepad. If you're It's going to open on Notepad. Yeah, so which simply means you're able to handle this .txt file on almost each and every modern operating system that does exist. Okay, so now let's go back to our code here. So before we get started with the reading, remember what you're trying to achieve here is we're trying to display the content of sample file.txt from our PHP web application. So now, how do we do that? There are two methods of dealing with that. The first method is called the read file function. The other one is called fopen fread, which means the second method involve two procedures. You open the file and then you read it. Okay, so we're going to start with the easiest one, which is the read file function. So let's get to begin with our code. So what I did here is that I created a file which I named episode 18-filehandling.php. So you can name it whatever you want, but make sure that this code works. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with the first method. I'm going to say uh, read read file method. This is just a comment. read file method. Okay, so what I'm basically going to do here is that I'm going to say echo, and then uh, I'm going to use a function named read file, and then I'm going to I'm going to pass in the parameters, the first argument here, which is uh, I'm going to pass in the first argument, which is the name of the file. So if we do have to check the name of the file from here, we can see that it's named sample file, sample underscore file dot txt. So I'm going to copy paste this name here so that we get it exactly. So I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, let's control V for pasting. Yeah, so let's close our PHP code here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open now the file, the PHP file. So I'm going to click on episode 18 file handling. So you see, I've displayed what's in the .txt file here, which is I can code. I'm a programmer, though it's in a single line. So this is the first method of doing so. Now, there's another method which is more advanced and the most reliable method, which is called the fopen fred, which involves two procedures or two steps. First, you need to open the file, and then you suggest the method in which you'd like to open the file. Is it with the read-only permission, with the permission of manipulating the file, or not? Yeah. So let's go to the uh, fred if open function there. So I'm going to start another code here. So I've just commented out on these on the other code here so that whenever you're accessing it, you'll be you'll be able to check through what you're doing, what we are doing here. Okay, so now if open and fred option. Okay, let me just name it method. So the first thing here we need to do is to specify the file that you want to open, and then with the permission. Okay, so I'm going to declare a variable which I'm going to name my file in camel case here. You can use any case, but always ensure that you don't leave any spaces out here. So my file is equals to, and then you use the fopen function. Fopen. So fopen takes two options here. The first option, you need to specify which file exactly you are trying to open. And then if you open it, what are you going to use? What's the permission that you are going to open it with? Is it read only, create and read only, or yeah, something like that? Okay, so now let's just, so here the first option we specify to say our name of the file is sample underscore file dot txt. That's what we named it. We named it sample underscore file dot txt. Okay, now what, in which method, in which, with what permissions? Okay, let's open it with only read only. R simply stands for read only. Okay, so if you want here, you can pass many things like with X, A, R, W. There are many options here. Okay, so let me show you a quick reference of what you can use here from the W3 school. So the file may be opened in one of the following modes here. So we have R, open a file for read only. We have W, A up to X plus. Please take your time to read through these file opening modes here. Okay, so now for this scope, we are going to use R since we are only trying to read this file only. Okay, now what do we do now? Let's display it. Let's get to display it. So we are going to use fred, and then with the fred here, first thing we're going to specify, we're going to pass in the name of the file that we want to open, of which it has to be in the form of fopen. So I'm just going to pass in this variable right here, since it's the variable which is handling the way we are going to open this file and the exact file we are opening, we are dealing with. So I'm going to pass in the first option as my file, comma, uh, file size, the length of the size, file size, and then over here, I'm going to pass in the name of the file. I'm just going to type it. So I'm going to let me just copy paste from here. Okay, yep. And then, okay, so another advantage of uh, fopen and fred second method is because is that of over okay, so the another advantage of fopen and fred option is over the read file option is that we are even able to close the file. So let's say f close, and then the file we pass in my file. Yeah. So here, what this clause does is that when this file opens, we're just going to open it once. We're just going to display it or read it once here, and then when we read it once, we close it for that instance. Okay, now what mostly happens is that when you don't put f clause here, this file is going to be open throughout the server, which simply means that it's going to take a lot of your resources, or it's going to consume a lot of the resources until the moment you close it. So if this file is opened like 1 million of times, which means this file is going to continuously eat your resources 1 million of times continuously. But if we do add fclose option here, it means this file is only going to open once on that instance. So here, when we read it here, it's going to display, and then when it displays to you, it's going to terminate that file to close. So once you leave that page, the file closes. So that's another advantage of using fopen and fred method. Okay, so this is how we handle the reading of the files using these two methods here. So I'm going to comment out even here. Okay, now let's now learn uh, how we can how we can uh, add some content to this file, or how we can overwrite files. Okay, let's start another PHP code here, and I'm going to say PHP, and then let's say we want to add some content over here. So I'm going to say I'm going to start again. My file is equals to f open file open. F is for file, and then sample underscore file dot txt, and then this time we're not going to use R, since this time we're dealing with reading of the file, sorry, writing something on the file, like manipulation, doing some manipulations on the files. So if we try to check from our references here, a simply, which we can pick the best method to use here. So let's see what A has. So A, open a file for write only. So this this does suit our need for this scope. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set the modes to A, of which says that open a file for write only, which does permit the write only of the file. Okay, so now if this file does not exist, what do? We display an error to say a file does not exist. Okay, let me enlarge my screen here. Okay, so this is the code. It's just a single line here. Okay, now what do? There's an option which is called fright for file write, which we are going to use to write some content onto the file. Okay, what do you want to add? Okay, let's say, let me declare a variable which I'm going to name txt for text. Uh, this is the text that we are going to add onto sample file here. Okay, I'm going to say, let's say, I am unstoppable. 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 Ah, let's say I am what's here? Special. Okay. Okay, let's say I am a top G. I am a top G. Nah, this doesn't sound appropriate for this story. Let's say I write code. I write code. I write code. Yeah, so this is the text that we are going to add. Now, where do you want to add it? How are you going to do that? This is where fwrite comes in. This is where fwrite comes in. So we're going to use a function called fwrite, and then the first option here, we're going to pass in where do you want to do the writing. So we want to do the writing on my file, of which we are opening from here, my file, and then what do you want to write on my file? So you want to write on my file this, which is txt. Yep. Okay. And then let's get to close it so that we can save some resources on our server. Okay. Okay, so if we try to take a serious look on this file, we're going to find that we only have this. Now let's see if we are able to write over there this, which is I write code. Okay, there's only one way to find out. Let's refresh our page. Foot open, permission denied. Permission denied. So let's set our permission. It seems like our permissions are not allowing us to do the writing. So as we can see, the access is only read only. So let's put it read and write. Okay, so I'm going to refresh the page here. Okay, so I've refreshed my page. Now let's see here if I try to open, reload, you see I write code. We have I write code. So here we can add as many as you want. So if I want to add another, I'll just say txt2, txt2, and then I just say I am super genius. I am super genius. Or maybe let's just say I am powerful. Let's just say I am powerful. And then we repeat the same writing here to say F, write for file write, and then where do you want to do the writing on my file? In my file, which is sample file.txt, and then what do you want to write there? Well, we want to write txt2 this time, txt2 this time. So let's refresh and check, and then let's reload here. You see, I write code. We have I write code I write I write code, and we also have I am powerful. I am powerful. So you can do that repeatedly as many times as you want. If you want, you can just do the overwriting as much as you can. So so for this episode, we have only just dealt with only two writings. So for this episode, we end from here. See you in the next episode where we are going to be dealing with file uploading. We are going to be uploading some files uh, from a local device onto a server. And thank you guys for your attention and for your time on watching this free PHP tutorial series. And don't forget to subscribe and invite your friends. See you in the next episode. Cheers.